Hey everybody, I'm Ryan from Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. And today we're going to be talking about Exchange. This is a new light strategy game from Bicycle. And in this game, you're kind of taking on the founding fathers of the New York Stock Exchange. So you're going to be buying and selling banks and bonds and insurance, trying to make as much money as possible. Let me show you what it looks like. Alright, so here is the setup for Exchange. Now, in Exchange, we're all going to be taking on the roles of founders of the New York Stock Exchange. So there's all different characters that you can play as. They all have different starting values. We're going to start off as Alexander Zuntz. He starts off with 10 units, or 10 shares of banks, 3 of bonds, 3 insurance, and $200 in cash. So here's our $200 in cash. But how you represent the banks, bonds, and insurance is through this super awesome ledger board. Now this has these kind of inlaid sliders that can kind of go up and down. So we've got our 10 banks, our 3 bonds, and our 3 insurance. These boards are awesome. We're going to play this over 5 rounds, and then one final market close round. And each one of those rounds is going to have 3 phases. During phase 1, we are going to choose which one of those things that we're going to be messing with on our personal boards. Banks, bonds, and insurance. You're going to take that card and put it inside this pocket. So let's say insurance. During phase 2, we're going to decide whether we're going to buy or sell shares and how many. Now, if we're going to deal with insurance, we've only got 3. I say at this point, let's just dump it all. Let's prepare to sell all 3. So we would put our sell 3 card in the phase 2 pocket. Alright, so for the third phase of the game, we are going to kind of modify the market a little bit. We have bonds, we have our banks, bonds, and insurance, and we have pluses and minuses. Alright, so in this case, we want to sell all of our insurance. So we actually want to, let's say, move the insurance up a little bit. Everything is kind of represented on these 3 little pyramids. So right now, the value of insurance is $50. Once this goes into effect, it's going to slide up to $60. But that's going to happen in just a minute here. Once all of that is set up, we're all going to reveal everything. So our phase 1, we're messing with insurance. Phase 2, we're going to reveal that we were planning on selling 3. And then we're going to move our insurance up. But also, in addition to that, everybody else might move things around. Maybe they move the bonds down. Maybe somebody else moves it down again. But then also we have these market forces. These are kind of an external force that's going to change the market. This one says, all securities plus 1 due to some trade deal. So every single thing is going to get bumped up 1. Now, there are a ton of different outside market forces. You might move things up, might move things down, might move everything, might move only one thing. Now, a really important factor of this game is, in a 5 to 6 player game, once something gets above 90, the market breaks, pops. It goes all the way down to $10. And similarly, if something goes down to 10 and goes lower than 10, the market pops and becomes a market bubble going up to 90. So even though we had planned on selling our goods when the market was at $60, you know what? Now they're only at $10. So we have to sell for whatever we assigned for. So in this case, we have to sell all 3 of our insurance for $10 a piece. Alright, so in the second round, and from here on out, now we have one more additional thing that can influence the market, and that is the lobbyist. The lobbyist is controlled by whoever has the most cash, just like in real life. So whoever has the most cash gets to do their normal phase 3, and all the pluses and minuses that goes into that. But they also control the lobbyist, who has the same set of 3 cards. They can make anything move up to 1 or down 1. So they're going to have that slight bit of control over the market. Now, anyone can pay $50 to peek at the top card of the Market Forces deck and kind of get a sneak peek of what's coming up ahead and how the market's going to change. So the game is going to continue like that. We're going to go through the rounds. We are going to buy, sell all these different shares, and eventually it's going to come to the market close. You're going to get one last chance to basically do a phase 3 and influence the market either plus or minus 1. And then you're going to turn all of your assets into cash. At the end of all that, whoever has the most cash wins the game. All right, so first of all, I am in love with these ledger boards, all these different sliders. This is so much cooler and just more effective than a piece of paper and a little token that you slide around. All those can get so easily bumped and moved around or accidentally nudged or whatever it is. This just keeps everything exactly where it needs to be. You just slide it. It's all self-contained. This is unbelievably cool. I think this is just a really accessible stock market game. A lot of stock market games that I've played, at least, usually are paired up with something like a really heavy train game or heavy negotiations that have to take place in trading, that kind of thing. So this was a really accessible a game that anybody can play, all about the stock market. So that was kind of a neat take on that. I really like the idea of having to pay $50 in order to see what's coming up, kind of have some advanced knowledge of what's going to happen in the markets. Those can be some really big swingy cards, so having that knowledge ahead of time can really kind of help shape your round. Also, the lobbyist, getting control of the lobbyist can really kind of help you move things in the right direction. There's other factors that you can't control, but having that lobbyist is really nice. I will say in this game, it really kind of sucks to get burned by the market popping. You were really banking on things being really cheap, let's say. But then at the last minute, it popped and went the other way. Now they're the most expensive possible way. And then the other caveat to that is when you can't afford something, let's say you're planning on buying, 8 shares in insurance, and they were $30 a piece, and now all of a sudden they are, everyone else just shakes down, they're $90 a piece. Whatever you can't afford, what you thought you would have been able to afford earlier, you actually have to liquidate some of your assets, half their value, half their current value. So you really take a hit, whenever that happens. And so that can kind of suck. It's not just going to ruin you in that one category. It might ruin you in other categories as well. You're forced to sell off things just for a little bit of money to get by. And like I said, there are a lot of things that are outside of your control. Those market cards can really just I don't know, disintegrate your plans really quick. So all that being said, overall, I think this is a really fun, really accessible stock market game that I kind of really like. I will say you have to have kind of a thick skin to play it. It's really easy to get frustrated, when you were planning on selling a whole bunch of stuff at a really high dollar amount, and then all of a sudden, now you're getting pennies on the dollar, it seems like. And yes, that mimics, real life stock exchanges in a lot of ways. But in a game format, that can be a little bit frustrating. So yeah, just going into this game with a thick skin can really help your mindset. It's really kind of a light party setting, in fact, even though it is a stock market themed game. It's lighthearted and it's fun. So just be aware of that. Roll with the punches. Have some fun with it. I think people are really going to enjoy Exchange. Well, everybody, I hope you subscribe to our YouTube channel to see all of our videos as they come out. We are on Facebook. We are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. Don't forget to find us on Instagram. We're posting photos of all the games we're playing. We are Ryan and Bethany on there. And on Twitter, you can talk to us about anything you want. About health, about games, just about, family, about stock exchanges. We are at Ryan and Bethany 1 on Twitter. All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you next time. Bye.